Yo, what's going on, GBA fans? I'm Ben, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host. Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Melantosh here.
And we're here to bring you all the power rankings for Week 8 of GBA Season 9. So, let's just hop right in with number 16. Before we begin, I would like to formally apologize to Deathly for my behavior last week. While I was being honest, it doesn't change the fact that I was also acting very rudely and disrespectfully, and I shouldn't have been so harsh on him. But at the end of the day, he's not good at Pokemon, so I've still got him here at number 16. And at the time we're recording this, neither Deathly nor Kyle has uploaded, so I'd say we can just skip over both of them and move right on to number 14.
Yeah, pretty much. I put Deathly above. Oh, I won't spoil the game. Oh, God. Okay, whatever. Yeah, let's just move on to Nexus at number 14. Yeah. Okay. Why didn't you take Nexus? God, sorry.
Alright. So, Nexus mentioned that Tornadus was a huge problem for him. First defense, of course, Celestial and Mega Venusaur, but he does have a Rotom Heat on his roster, and I'm not sure why that didn't come this week, or I don't remember if you brought it against Nate or not, but I don't know why it didn't come this week for sure, because, Torn T is always a threat, and it's Rotom Heat's a really, really solid switch into that. And at Team Preview, he noticed that Primarina could just kind of click Moonblast in this game for free, but then by turn 3, he's essentially sacked it off already. And another play that I want to address is that he was confused by Astor's switch from Lunala into Cobalion on the Zoroark disguised as Mimikyu. Because Lunala outspeeds Mimikyu, it can kill it with Moongeist Beam because that bypasses disguise. But from Astor's perspective, Cobalion seems like a no drawback play. Because Nexus is forced to click Shadow Sneak in that scenario, if it was the Mimikyu. And he was forced to click Dark Pulse if it was the Zoroark, because otherwise Lunala would just blow both of them back. And then, I guess the only other misplay that's worth mentioning is that he forgot that Icy Wind dropped Zoroark speed, so he kind of sacked that off to the Tornadus for no reason, but that's just more of a minor thing, just because it's like, he just overlooked it. It's not like he didn't know the mechanics or anything. Yeah, I just feel like Nexus hasn't really performed too great this season, but yeah, that's why I've got him at number 14.
Yeah, I mean, it's prep as always as well. I felt like he actually got pretty much outplayed as well. I mean, you mentioned all the plays, to be honest, but he got outprepped and outplayed, and he did make a few mistakes, but like you said, kind of oversights. I also noticed that he started to bring pretty similar mons each week. I'm not sure if that's because he's out of players' contention and he's getting a bit lazy, like he didn't bring Rotom Heat, like you said. Or it also must be partly because his team isn't that great, and it's going to be quite a hard team to use. So he doesn't. I mean, he should have made changes before. He keeps saying that his team other people's teams are so much better than his, but I feel like he's got to make changes because he hasn't brought any of his lower tier stuff at all. Really, like I think he's got a Gorbis, which has not come ever. I think that the freeze sucked, but I do think that Astor still won that game. I mean, he had sand up, so he couldn't synthesis back up as much, and I felt like Astor had all the ones in the back to still be able to win the game.
Yeah, I don't know how much it mattered, since, I mean, he was weakness policy Tyranitar. Venusaur's presumably Giga Drain would have popped the weakness policy, and Tyranitar would have just kind of blown everything back. I mean, I guess maybe Playoff would have been able to kill after the Giga Drain trip if he would have been able to stall out the Reflect for long enough. Yeah. We haven't seen Astor's team builder. We don't know if he was light clay on Reunitless or not, but even if he wasn't, and even if Nexus was able to pick up that kill, I still don't think he would have been able to beat the rest of Astor's team. Yeah, with just the one mon. Yeah.
Should we move on then?
Yeah, sure thing.
To both of our number 13s in Tom. So, Tom, this game, I found this kind of tricky because I felt like he didn't really do that much wrong. I just felt like Jolt played and prepped immaculately, and that's why Tom lost. I felt like the double defog prep was really nice. He played decently. There were some small errors, such as the what words and things and stuff. He clicked what is that bullet punch on the Magearna when if Magearna had taken out the Scizor, then Jolt's Scolipede would have just cleaned the rest of Tom's team. While the play did work out, Tom did have a Ho-Oh in the back, which takes on Magearna pretty well, although if Tom did predict the Volt Switch, then it is a very good play, but I felt like it was really quite risky. But overall, it was a really good game, I felt.
Yeah, I think he did prep decently well with, like, you know, the Banded Ho-Oh, basically forcing Jolt to pick a sack. I really liked the Latios set. I thought that was really cool. I think he tried to set up a bit too early, but agreed, I think my biggest question here is, why did he get rid of Mega Lucario? Like, it's like getting rid of a Tapu Koko or a Celesteela in standard format. It's just so good that even if you aren't the biggest fan of it, it's good to keep on your team just so no one else can have it.
Like, I suppose, but at this point, he's not making playoffs.
But it's still a Mega Lucario.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why he dropped that, but he has Ho-Oh now, which I still think is a downgrade, but it's certainly still a good Pokemon, and he made it work this week, so.
Yeah, agreed. So should we move on? Yeah.
Yeah, we can just move on.
To both of our number 12s.
We're doing pretty well.
Yeah, we are doing pretty well. In Goldoa, why didn't you take Goldoa now?
Alright. So just like Tom, Goldoa played a really good player this week in Leo, so I don't think we can really knock him down too much for losing. in terms of misplays, the first one that caught my eye was staying in with his Ditto on the Snorlax. He just copied the Darkrai, and he was a Focus Sash Ditto, so he wasn't locked into Dark Pulse like Leo probably assumed. He clicked Focus Blast, knowing that it should be able to KO unless he was the 50% berry, and that's where the problem lies. I don't think Goldoa should have stayed in. Curse Recycle to attack Snorlax is arguably the best set, and if Leo pops the berry, then okay, you can just keep clicking Recycle until Goldoa misses. And Goldoa said he was scouting for the berry, but if Leo wasn't a curse set, then Snorlax isn't really that scary, and if he is a curse set, then that's very. And I didn't really see a lot of ways Goldoa could break Curse-Lax, even though he said in his video that he had responses to it, but he ended up having to sack like half his team to the plus. And I think that under-prep for Snorlax is really what lost him this game.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. It seemed like he didn't really have anything for Curse-Lax, if I'm honest with you, and like Curse-Lax is a really common Snorlax set. Snorlax is just so much fun to use in format. It's so good, and Curse-Lax is just the classic set. So I would have liked to see like maybe a Taunt Mon, maybe a Mon that can deal with Curse-Lax, maybe a different Toxic Mon that is going to take less from the attack. Facade was such a good bring from Leo though.
Yeah.
And I don't think Goldoa had the best matchup, like he mentioned in his commentary. It's hard to say because he was playing such a high quality player, but I did feel like Goldoa was never really in the game. And although I have him above Tom, it's more for his past week performances rather than this week's performance. I think on this week's performance, Tom would probably be a bit above Goldoa for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool, so shall we move on? Or have you got...
I guess the only other thing to say about Goldoa is that Lele's Psychic not killing the Snorlax really did suck. Because I think he had a good chance of winning if that was still alive.
Yeah,
he had two
true.
Scarfers that could outspeed the scary stuff, and the Ferrothorn was so low to the point that it couldn't really reliably check them. So unless I'm overlooking something, I think Goldoa would have been in good shape to win the game.
Yeah, Reshiram, it got him a little comeback at the end. Scarf Reshiram.
Yeah.
So yeah, would have helped with that for sure. Oh yeah, and then he would have stopped Fake Out Priority with the Psychic Terrain from Lele if he still had Lele around.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So he may have won that game. Yeah, you're right. If he got the roll. Okay, maybe I take that back then. Maybe Goldoa should be above Tom this week. It just felt like he didn't have control of the game at all. Like he was so down. But like you said, if he'd got that roll, it could have been different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But he also could have better prep for the Snorlax. But yeah, I guess we can just kind of move on now.
Yeah, cool. So we're still doing well. Both of our number 11s. Innate. Okay, so this was interesting, this match. I don't know why he clicked Stealth Rocks with his Skarmory versus the Lugia. He had Taunt, which is okay. I would have preferred Whirlwind because Carmine Lugia is just a pain. Maybe he was expecting MV not to switch out on fear of Whirlwind, or not to Carmine, sorry, because he feared the Whirlwind. But you just don't really want to mess around with a threat like Lugia. It's just... It's such a good Mon. And the other thing is, I honestly felt like this is, I think, the second week or third week someone's played Lugia and not brought Toxic. Like, if you're playing a Lugia, bring Toxic. If he had Toxic Skarm there, that would have been his most optimal play for sure. It means that Lugia can never comfortably stay in its multi-scale, which is its best ability by far. It slowly wears it down over time. It's just, you want that thing Toxic. But at the end of the day, he was playing Envy, who's an absolutely amazing player and hasn't lost since he's picked up Lugia. So I can't knock him too much.
Yeah, he did under prep for the Lugia a bit, and once the Gyarados went down, it just went crazy. But I think he brought a really nice Mewtwo set this week, physical with bulk up to bop the Alolan Muck, which would otherwise check a special Mewtwo.
Yep.
But otherwise, yeah, I don't think he played too badly. I just think that he lost in prep because Lugia is really dumb.
Yeah, Lugia is stupidly bulky, and but I mean, the thing is, I can understand not prepping properly for a I don't know, like a lowland Doug trio that you don't think is going to come. But like when your opponent has a Lugia, you prep for Lugia. So
Yeah.
I feel like you have to prep hard for those kind of stuff, especially in an Ubers, or it's kind of like semi-Ubers like the GBA is this season.
Yeah, I agree.
So should we move on again?
Yep. Is it both of our number 10s?
It is both of our number 10s. Do you want to take Necro?
Sure. This season has not been kind to Necro. He was off to a great start, but I think he's on like a 6-game losing streak now.
Yeah.
Like, he's been prepping and playing really solidly, I think, and like he's not playing like a 2-6 team. But then like this week he missed a high jump kick right off the bat, then his road to Mo got crit by the Mega Lucario, and then at that point I felt like he was already like pretty far in the hole, and he just couldn't recover.
Yeah, I agree, and he was playing one of the scariest teams out there, and Randy obviously has a really good record this season. So definitely not an easy match to come back from when you go down in a match like that. It's obviously hard to say because there's no vid, so we can't like look at the team builder or get his thought process behind the plays. But he's definitely like the heartthrob of this season because he's just been, in my opinion, prepping and playing really, really well at a much higher level than we've previously seen from him, in my opinion. He's definitely upped his game, and I think he's been very unlucky to have the record that he has. And if he comes back and preps and plays like this next season, I'm sure his record will be different. So from that end, I think Necro just needs to keep his head up. Like, he is really high. I got him. I basically put him as high as I possibly could for his record, and so did you, I imagine.
Yeah.
So he deserves more, but I'm sure next season he'll be back with a vengeance.
Certainly hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So of those last 6 we just went over, the only one still in playoff contention is Nate, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, they've all been eliminated except Nate, who, if Tup gets one more win, is eliminated. Because he's 3 and 5.
Because he's in the scary conference.
Yeah, exactly. So all the teams from here on up basically are all in playoff contention, all have clinched playoffs.
Yeah.
So should we move on to your number 9 and my number 8?
Yeah.
In Tup.
So he finally got Battle Bond to activate again, so that's pretty neat.
Yep.
He played Lars this week, and Lars' team is stupidly good, especially now that he has the Mega Lucario. Thank you, Tom. And I think Tup just kind of lost this game from matchup, because like, how is anyone supposed to beat Mega Lucario, KB, Azumarill, and Lando I?
You don't switch into that. You don't. No.
Yeah.
Although saying that, he played well and he gave it a good go, but I mean, Battlebond Gren's great and all, but it's not a Deoxys attack, you know. It's not like a or I don't know, or what else is there? Zekrom or Mega Metagross.
Any other tier 1.
Any other tier 1, exactly. He almost pulled it back at the end, kind of, although Lars was Kolba Jirachi, so he definitely had. Tup would have had to get very lucky to win the match. And although he played well, although I think it's more of a reflection on Lars than on Tup, he never really had a foothold in the game. He seemed to be fighting an uphill battle from turn 1, and like you said, that's partly due to the matchup and the team builders from each coach.
Yeah.
Cool. So shall we move on to
your number 9 and my number 8?
Yes, in Danza. Okay.
Yeah, so Danza's Danza's bouncing back in a serious. He started 04, and ever since he picked up Crocodile, he's gone undefeated. Beaten Necro, Astor, Goldoa.
Hey Ben, who told him to pick up Crocodile?
Sup? And yeah, this week he beat Aaron, so he's back to his regular self. He's been taking down really good players, and if he keeps this up, I think he can turn that 0-4 record into potentially playoffs, depending on how things pan out. Possibly.
I don't think.
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. I think it's out of his hands, but it's still possible.
Yeah. I think it's gonna come down to like the other people in his conference, like possibly losing.
Yeah. I think he mentioned in his video he needs Astor basically to lose out.
And it's Astor.
Yeah, who's playing really well at the moment. Although, if Aaron's 5-3, so technically he could chase Aaron. I think, if I'm getting the way it works right, because Jolt would go through from Melee, Randy would go through from Akala, then you have Astor, Danza, and Aaron fighting for the last 3 spots.
I think so.
So he's got an okay chance at playoffs.
He has a chance, yeah.
Yeah, if he has to win out, basically.
Yeah, for sure. He's got to win out.
And then
I
he
think
has
in
to hope
theory
that
he could
Aaron
still lose
loses
one more, but yeah.
Yeah, technically he could. And then if Aaron... He'd have to win 1, lose 1, and Aaron would have to lose both of his last 2.
Yeah, alright. So, it's possible, it's just not really like... But,
Yeah, but Aaron has
playing.
lost 2 games in a row, and he plays Jolt next week. And then in week 10, Aaron plays Tom. So it's going to be a hype last couple of weeks for that playoff race.
And it looks like that's probably going to be the main... that's probably going to be like the main playoff race that's even happening, because in the other conference, it's just Nate potentially trying to take that number 1 spot from Tup. Because I believe all the guys in the Ula conference, Ula division, have already clinched.
Yeah, Leo, MV, and Lars have all clinched.
Yeah. So it's a matter of if Aaron loses and if Danza keeps winning.
Yeah. Oh, interestingly, so both Danza and Aaron have played the same opponents, but just inverse.
Really?
Yeah, so Danza plays Tom, then Jolt, and Aaron plays Jolt, then Tom.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty hype finish. You guys want to stay tuned for that one. Now, should we actually talk about Danza? Sorry.
Actual power rankings.
Yeah.
His team is good. And he beat Aaron, so that's impressive.
Yeah, Aaron's been playing really well this season, actually, so that is impressive. He prepped really well, I felt, this game. Disable on the Bulu was really cool to see. No one expects that. The heal block on Palkia, the whole Palkia set to stop the Toxapex from walling it was really cool as well. But other than that, he just played super solidly. And he beat a really good opponent this week, so congrats.
And I don't believe Danza has uploaded yet?
No.
Yeah, so we don't really know much about like his sets or thought process, so there's not a lot we can really say.
Yeah.
Alright, so now I guess we can move on to the Big 7.
We can indeed, yes. So both of our number... No, sorry. Well, your number 7 and my number 3 in Randy. Why didn't you take this? Because it's slightly controversial.
Yeah, so Randy's play hasn't really impressed me this season. It's just that, like, every week he plays just well enough to the point that his broken team can just carry him to the win. And, like, I'm sure this isn't true, but it feels like every week is just a really good matchup. Like, this week he brought Bulky Hippo to check the Zardex and the Mienshao. He had a Metagross to help check the Xerneas and the Slurpuff. Bullet Punch in case they started to get scary. Then he had his stupid offensive core of Yveltal, Megalodios, and then Zygarde 10. Sure, Necro has 2 fairy types, but, you know, if Randy can just, like, cripple them with his dragons, then the other one can go crazy. But basically, as long as Randy doesn't make huge mistakes, I think he's going to keep winning. But I think it's mostly because his team is so stupidly good. And one other reason that I have him at the bottom of the Big 7 is because he hasn't had the toughest schedule. He beat Jolt week 2, and he lost to Aaron week 5. But those were his only 2 games against the other guys in top 7.
Oh, really?
I just feel like Randy hasn't really impressed me this season. But, I mean, his team is solid, and he's definitely still a threat.
His team is unreal, and I think, like, if you have a good matchup every week, that means that your team is really good. I don't feel like that's luck. If it's every single week you have a good matchup, then I think you've just drafted a really good team. And at the end of the day, drafting is part of league format. So if you draft well, you're going to do better. And you should be rewarded for drafting well, as he is being rewarded right now. The small misplays I see was, why did he Zen Headbutt on the Puff over Meteor Mashing? He realized it in his commentary, but it was a very obvious Meteor Mash. Necro did not switch in well. And also he didn't go Lati on the Rotom Mo, which is a very obvious and easy switch in. Instead he went into his Hippowdon and just let it get burned. Whereas I believe Lati was already burnt or had some sort of status on it. So yeah, I feel like he could have just gone Lati in that situation. Overall, he played Necro, and although Necro is a 2-6 team, he plays playing up from that, so it's still a good win in my books.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you done with Randy?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to my number 7 and your number 6 in Aaron. Okay, so although there's no shiny Rayquaza, Aaron's still playing pretty well. I just think that, I mean, so like obviously it's very hard to have something on your team that takes a hit from Palkia. Although I do feel that he was slightly under-prepped because Danza has brought Heal Block in the past, and he's brought Sub in the past, and I can't even begin to imagine a Toxapex set that breaks a Palkia's Sub. So although it was incredible prep from Danza's part, I feel like if Aaron had scouted Danza properly, he maybe couldn't have predicted the set, but planned around what he was going to do if Danza had have brought that set. Whether it's because I was looking at Aaron's team and legit nothing, and I mean nothing, takes a hit from Palkia whatsoever. I think that's just because Palkia is a great mon. But at the end of the day, you're still in a great position to get playoffs. He also set up toxic spikes on the Palkia and then just proceeded to defog his own spikes away. So he maybe could have at least tried to break the sub with a crit or something like that and get a little bit more damage off on the Palkia. Or maybe he could have switched out on the next predicted sub if he got the crit. Other than that, he maybe could have played a bit more aggressive this match. Especially when he started to get in the back. I felt he didn't play aggressive enough. But other than that, like I said, playing really well. Just got to get a few more wins for the playoff run.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So should we move on to my number 6 and your number 5? There's basically like a little theme here where you have everyone one above me now.
Yeah, because I had Randy pretty low.
Yeah. So yeah, on to Lars.
At first I had Aaron over Lars because Aaron's 3 losses have been against like 3 really, really solid players. But then that's about when I realized that Lars now has a Mega Lucario on his team.
Yep.
It was disgusting enough on Tom's team, but now Lars has a Mega Lucario, Kyurem Black, Azumarill offensive, Steel Dragon Fairy core. Holy hell.
You don't
Everything
switch
dies.
into that. That's impossible.
Yeah. Switch-ins don't exist.
Maybe
Like,
Lugia.
Okay, yeah, maybe Lugia, actually, now that you mention it. Yeah, okay, never mind.
On a good day.
But... yeah, the Sapsip for Azumarill was really nice prep to check the Shaman Sky that didn't come for some reason. Z-Hail Kyurem was pretty cool, and Mega Lucario just sort of clicked buttons and did Mega Lucario things as usual.
I just realised that Shaman Sky didn't come.
Yep.
Whoa, okay. Top Shaman Sky should have come. Okay. Yeah, like you said, Mega Lucario makes Lars's team so scary. like I would not want to prep for that team. I really thought that the agility prep with the Mega Lucario was slightly out of the box, and I really liked it. It makes that thing very, very threatening. Lars also forgot about Terravolt, and so didn't go for Fusion Bolt. Didn't go into his Kyurem and Fusion Bolt the Greninja once it was locked into the Shuriken, because he thought that Tup could just go out into the Zeraora, which had Volt Absorb, but he would have been able to get off a hit on that thing. And I don't think, because it was quite low, I don't know if it would have been able to switch in. So that's a slight misplay, but it happens. And at the end of the day, he got the win, and I thought he played decently.
Hey, so I'm looking at it, and Shaman Sky has only come to 4 games.
What? No.
My thoughts exactly. 4 games.
Wasn't that his first pick overall as well? Yeah, it was. It was his first pick overall. Wow, that's so surprising. I'd love to know why.
Okay, now I want to go through all the teams and see how often everyone else brings their, Ubers.
Well, I mean, Randy has brought Yveltal every week. Jolt has brought Groudon every week he's had it. Leo has brought Marshadow every week. Astor has brought Lunala every week.
I'm starting to sense a pattern here.
Lars did leave Deoxys on the bench once, maybe twice. Aaron has brought Rayquaza every week. Dan's brought Palkia every week. Necro's brought Xerneas every week. I think Nate has brought Mewtwo every week. Goldoa hasn't brought his Uber every week. Tom didn't, because I remember he didn't bring Mega Lucario and he brought Sizzle instead last week.
Yeah.
Nexus definitely has. Deathly, I'm pretty sure he has. And Kyle, I think he's mixed it up.
Yeah, so basically, you bring your Ubers every week, and you have a better shot at winning. So, Tup might want to start bringing Shaman Sky a little bit more.
Although, he'd also benefit from actually having a tier 1 Uber that can come every week.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, but it's too late for that now. We did try to tell him earlier. Okay, cool. Should we move on to my number 5 and your number 4? In Jolt, who's the prep god. I really want to say beforehand that shiny Groudon is gross. Oh my god, that thing is disgusting. Like, why do you have that? It looks like my dog eats its own poo and then throws up. That's what colour shiny Groudon looks like. It's disgusting.
That's an image.
I don't want to see that on my screen.
All right.
Anyway, rant over. I feel in case you haven't noticed, I feel very strongly about shiny Pokemon. Woo. Okay.
Yeah. Jolt kind of did Jolt things this week. He spammed Groudon and Magearna until he won, and that's is that kind of all we have to say? Because this is all we ever have to say about Jolt. Because he's kind of good at this game, and he doesn't really make mistakes.
He's very good at this game, and he even won through a bit of hacks, which is always something that I find impressive. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So let's move on to my number 4 and your number 3 in Astor, who, to be honest, at the moment has been pretty similar to Jolt. He's been playing and prepping really, really well, I feel. He didn't upload, if I'm correct.
I'm pretty sure you're right, yeah.
But I think he won without the freeze either way, like we mentioned when we were talking about Nexus. But I don't really have much to say about him. I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I really think that Astor is the dark horse in this GBA season. If I had to place my bets, I'd place my. Well, you'll see in Pick'ems. You'll see in Pick'ems. But that's all I really have to say about Astor.
Yeah, Astor just continues to prep and play well, and yeah, he's doing really well.
He is. Good job, man. Good job. So let's move on to both of our number 2s.
Yep.
The Lord himself. MV is scarily good at this game.
And it doesn't help that, or it does help that Lugia is stupidly broken.
Yeah, Lugia is great. Soul Silver MV was definitely the way to go. Like, people need to bring Toxic against that thing, like, really badly. I know I said it against Nate, but it's a need. MV hasn't lost since he's picked up Lugia. So that is why I have him so high. And even his losses when he had Ho-Ho weren't, how do you say, in his control. He had a bit of hacks there, so that is why I have MV so high. There's definitely a scenario where he's 8-0 right now.
Yeah, completely agreed.
So that's why I have him at number 2.
Yeah, like in this game, he knew that Dragon Dance Mega Gyarados would be one of the best ways for Nate to check the Lugia, since, Moldbreaker bypasses multiscale. So he brought a Scarf Keldeo to revenge that at +1. And he also pulled a lot of aggressive doubles to keep up momentum. Whenever he made a risky play, it was because the rest of his team was his safety net. Staying in with Lugia on the +2 Decidueye was a risky play because Nate could just, kill it right there. But MV still had Giratina O, Alolan Muck, Mega Diancie, things that could check the Decidueye if things got out of hand. But yeah, this was just a really clean game, and really, really well played there by MV.
Yeah, agreed. There's not really much else to say. I think this was such a standard week. All the top guys did really, really well and played well. And I think that was kind of that. I felt this week, so that's why I don't have that much to say about these guys other than patting them on the back.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so should we move on to both of our number 1s?
Indeed.
In Leo. I felt like Leo won this game in prep. A bit like we were talking about with Goldoa, I felt like he had control of this game from the beginning, and he never really had to make a play to put himself in a more a better position. And yeah, he just played solidly. Like we mentioned with Goldoa, he almost maybe would have had to think more in the end game if Goldoa had killed the Lax with the Lele, but I felt like he played super solidly this game. Facade, Snorlax was clean as hell. Snorlax is so good in the format, people. If you're in the format, draft that thing. You will not regret it. Other than that, anything else to say?
I mean, yeah, he won this game in prep. Snorlax is stupidly good. Almost as good as Lugia. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch, but...
No, it's better. Way better.
Yes, of course. Snorlax is definitely better than
Ban
Lugia.
Snorlax.
So, I'm assuming that, I don't think Leo's uploaded, right?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't think he has.
Okay.
So, I'm assuming that he saw that Goldoa's fighting type was a Scrafty, and he saw that Ditto can't 1v1 a Curselax. So he just kind of abused that weakness in Goldoa's team and then just went crazy. And yeah, like you said before, we don't really have much to say about the guys at the top just because they've been playing so well that they haven't really been making notable mistakes. And Leo's team is stupidly broken, and he's been using it really, really well. So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Imagine if Leo had just brought Rest Lax, like Rest Sleep Talk. That would have just won, right?
Yeah, basically. If he just had return, because he wouldn't have needed. I think his last move was Earthquake for the stack attack that didn't come.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have gone crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So that pretty much wraps up Week 8 power rankings for you guys. I hope you guys checked out all the matches and check out the matches next week. As we were talking before, there's going to be a very hype playoff finish between Danza and the LA Nido-Kings and the Melbourne Rotons and Arons. So make sure you guys check out all the coaches, which will be in the description down below. But other than that,
good job.
Thanks, man. But other than that, do you have anything else to say?
I am using my phone mic because my regular mic, I did a dumb and I broke my mic.
Cool. We'll see you guys next week.